The sky above Earth was clear, but far beyond the stars, something dark and huge moved silently. A fleet of massive ships appeared at the edge of human space. The aliens believed they would win this war easily. They had fought many battles in the past and thought Earth would be no different. On the lead ship, a man named Nathan was sure they would crush the humans without much trouble. Back on Earth, the people did not know what was coming at first. But when the strange ships appeared, alarms went off everywhere. In the capital city, a woman named Elizabeth stood before her people. She was calm but strong. Elizabeth was the queen, and she knew this was a moment to show real courage. She spoke to the crowd in a clear voice that made everyone listen. "We will not run," she said. "This is our home, and we will fight for it. They may be strong, but we have something they do not. We have heart. We have hope. And together, we will stand." The people cheered, their fear turning into determination. Soldiers began training harder, and engineers worked day and night to prepare weapons. Elizabeth walked through the base, watching the young men and women ready to fight. Among them was Jack, a brave pilot, and Sarah, a smart engineer who believed in their cause with all her heart. They knew the battle ahead would be hard, but they trusted their queen. The alien ships moved closer to Earth, their engines glowing like cold fire in space. The humans watched from their small fleet of warships, feeling the weight of the coming fight. No one knew exactly what the aliens wanted, but it was clear that they came to take everything. In the command room, Nathan looked at the stars and smiled. "This will be over quickly," he said to his officers. But Elizabeth knew better. She knew that the aliens had never faced humans like her soldiers before. She believed the fight would be long and bloody, but in the end, humans would make the aliens feel fear for the first time. The first battle was about to begin, and the world held its breath. The war that no one wanted had finally come. But Elizabeth and her people were ready to show the universe that Earth was not an easy prize. They were ready to teach the aliens what real war meant. The first attack came without warning. Bright lights filled the sky as the alien ships fired powerful weapons toward Earth's orbit. Explosions shook the space station guarding the planet. Humans were caught off guard, but they did not panic. Captain Jack was ready. He had trained for this moment his whole life. Jack shouted orders to his pilots. The small human fleet was no match in size or firepower, but they moved fast and worked as a team. Jack flew his fighter through the storm of lasers, dodging blasts and aiming carefully. Around him, other pilots fought hard, refusing to give up. On the ground, Elizabeth watched the battle unfold on large screens. Her face was calm, but her eyes were sharp. She knew every loss was a heavy cost, but giving up was not an option. "Hold the line," she told her commanders. "Show them we will not fall." Sarah worked in the control room, helping the fleet's weapon system. She adjusted power to the shields and found weak points in the alien attack. Her quick thinking helped block many enemy shots. The human ships shook under fire, but they stayed in the fight. The aliens expected an easy victory. They had never seen humans fight like this before. Their weapons were strong, but their moves were slow and predictable. The humans' fast attacks surprised them. The alien leaders realized they had underestimated their enemy. Jack found an opening and fired a missile at one of the larger alien ships. The explosion lit up space, sending pieces flying. The humans cheered quietly, knowing the small win was a sign that they could fight back. The battle went on for hours. Many human ships were lost, but the aliens suffered more than they thought possible. Slowly, the alien attack started to lose power. Their ships pulled back, surprised and confused. When the fighting finally stopped, Earth's defenses were badly damaged but still standing. Elizabeth's people had won the first fight. The aliens had learned that humans were not easy to defeat. In the silence after the battle, Elizabeth spoke to her people again. "Today we stood strong. We showed them that we are not weak. This is just the beginning. We will fight for every inch of our home." The humans prepared for what was next. They knew the war would be long and hard, but now they had hope. The aliens thought they knew war. The humans were ready to teach them fear. After the first battle, the aliens pulled back to their ships. They were angry and confused. They did not expect the humans to fight so hard. On Earth, Queen Elizabeth was already planning her next move. She knew waiting would only give the aliens time to regroup. She decided to take the fight to them in a new way. Elizabeth chose a small group of soldiers for a secret mission. She would lead the team herself. Among the soldiers were Jack, the pilot, and Sarah, the engineer. They trained for days, learning how to move quietly and strike fast. Their goal was to reach one of the enemy's command stations hidden deep in space. If they could destroy it, the aliens would lose control of their ships. The journey was dangerous. The small human ship had to fly through enemy space without being seen. The crew was tense, but focused. Elizabeth reminded them, "We fight for our home. We cannot fail." Everyone understood the risk, but trusted their queen's courage. When they reached the command station, the team moved quickly. Elizabeth led the way, breaking codes and disabling security systems. Sarah worked on the technology, cutting power and stopping alarms. Jack stood watch, ready to fight if anyone appeared. Suddenly, the station's defense system came alive. Warning lights flashed, and guards rushed to the team's position. The humans fought hard. Elizabeth used her strength and skill to protect her people. Jack flew their ship close enough to help with firepower, and Sarah jammed the enemy's signals to stop reinforcements.
Ow.
After a fierce fight, the team reached the main control room. Elizabeth set explosives on the core systems. The timer ticked down as they raced back to the ship. Just in time, they escaped as the station exploded in a massive fireball. The victory was more than just a win. It showed the aliens that humans could strike deep and smart. The alien leaders grew more cautious. They began to doubt their own strength. Back on Earth, Elizabeth's people celebrated the success, but stayed ready. "This war is far from over," Elizabeth said. "But every step we take breaks their power. We'll fight until the end." The humans had changed the battle. They were no longer just defending. They were attacking. The aliens learned that humans were clever, brave, and strong. The war was becoming something new. Humans would teach their enemies what real fear meant. The war grew tougher every day. The aliens brought more ships and weapons, trying to crush the humans with their power. But the humans never gave up. They used every chance to fight back and stay strong. On one colony planet, the battle was especially fierce. It was important because it was a key place for both sides. Lieutenant Sarah was in charge of a group of soldiers on the ground. The aliens had landed with many troops and heavy weapons. The humans were outnumbered and outgunned, but they knew the planet's terrain better. Sarah used this to her advantage. She planned surprise attacks and traps to slow down the enemy. The soldiers moved through the thick forests and rocky hills, hiding and striking quickly. Sarah stayed calm, even when the fighting was close and dangerous. She reminded her team that they were fighting for their homes and families. The soldiers fought harder because they believed in her and in their cause. In space above the planet, Captain Jack led fighter pilots in a battle against the alien ships. The sky was full of bright lasers and roaring engines. Jack flew skillfully, dodging attacks and protecting the transports that carried soldiers and supplies. His quick thinking saved many lives. The humans lost many friends that day, but their bravery paid off. They pushed the aliens back and took control of the planet. The victory lifted the spirits of everyone fighting the war. Even Queen Elizabeth was proud when she heard the news. Back on Earth, Elizabeth met with her commanders to plan the next move. She knew the aliens would try to come back stronger. "We must keep fighting smarter, not just harder," she said. "We need to use every tool, every idea to win." Sarah and Jack returned to Earth with their teams. They were tired and hurt, but ready to keep going. They understood that the war was not just about weapons. It was about hope, courage, and never giving up. The humans were showing the aliens that they could survive against all odds. The aliens no longer saw humans as easy targets. The battle was changing. Humans were growing stronger with every fight. They were not just fighting for today, but for the future of their world. The war was far from over, but now the humans were starting to win. The war moved into the heart of enemy space. Captain Daniel led a group of soldiers deep behind enemy lines. Their mission was risky. They needed to destroy a supply base that kept the alien forces strong. Daniel and his team knew failure was not an option. The soldiers traveled through dark, empty space, avoiding enemy patrols. Daniel reminded his men, "Stay sharp and move fast. We are the strike force they never expect." The group was made of tough men and women, ready to fight no matter what. When they reached the base, it was guarded by many soldiers and strong defenses. Daniel studied the place carefully. He found weak spots in the walls and blind spots in the patrol routes. The team moved quietly, using shadows to hide from the guards. Suddenly, alarms blared. Someone had spotted them. The soldiers fought hard, shooting and dodging in the tight corridors. Daniel took charge, leading the way with calm and clear orders. His men followed without question. The battle inside the base was brutal. Daniel's team used every trick they knew. They set traps, used explosives, and fought with courage. The enemy did not expect humans to fight so fiercely in their own territory. The soldiers pushed forward, breaking through every barrier. Outside, the sounds of the fight reached the nearby enemy ships. The aliens sent reinforcements, but Daniel's men held their ground. They completed their mission by destroying the supply stores. Without those supplies, the enemy would lose strength in many battles. The human soldiers escaped just before the base exploded in fire. They returned to their ship, tired but proud. Daniel told his team, "We showed them that we can strike anywhere. We are not afraid, and we will not stop." Back on Earth, the news of the success spread quickly. The aliens began to worry. They had never faced enemies like these humans before. The soldiers' courage and smart fighting made the aliens afraid. Queen Elizabeth watched the reports and smiled. She knew her people were changing the war. The humans were no longer just defending their homes. They were attacking the enemy's heart. The Queen believed that this new boldness would bring victory. The human men and women fought with their minds and their hearts. They had learned the true meaning of war. The aliens thought they knew how to fight, but the humans were teaching them what fear really meant. The aliens were angry and desperate. They gathered a massive force and aimed it directly at Earth's capital. Their plan was to destroy the city and break the human spirit once and for all. Queen Elizabeth knew this was the most dangerous moment yet. She prepared for the final fight, standing with her soldiers ready to defend their home. The city was surrounded by walls and defenses, but the alien ships were powerful and many. Explosions shook the ground as the first attacks hit. Human soldiers fired back with everything they had. Elizabeth moved among them, encouraging and directing the defense. Captain Jack led the air fighters against the enemy ships. The sky filled with smoke and fire as fighters clashed in fierce battles. On the ground, Lieutenant Sarah and her team set traps and blocked enemy advances. Every street became a battlefield. The humans were outnumbered, but they fought with a strength that surprised the aliens. Elizabeth knew that this was more than just a fight for land. It was a fight for their future. The soldiers held the line, refusing to give ground. In the middle of the battle, Elizabeth faced the alien leader in a final duel. Both fought fiercely. Elizabeth's strength and skill matched the enemy's power. Their fight was a symbol of the war itself, a struggle between two forces, but only one would survive. The Queen found an opening and struck the final blow. The alien leader fell, and the enemy forces lost their will to fight. The soldiers on both sides stopped, looking at what had happened. The humans had won this battle. The aliens began to retreat. Their ships pulled back from Earth, defeated and afraid. The people cheered. Elizabeth stood tall, proud of her people's courage and strength. The cost was high, but the victory meant everything. Elizabeth told her people, "We fought for our home, and we won." We showed them that we will never be broken. The war was not yet over, but the humans had turned the tide. They had taught their enemies that humans were not weak. They fought with heart and fearlessness. Queen and her soldiers were ready for whatever came next. They would protect their world and never stop fighting. The aliens retreated into the dark reaches of space. Their ships moved away slowly, leaving Earth behind. They were defeated and unsure if they would ever try to return. The war had changed them. They no longer saw humans as easy targets or weak enemies. On Earth, the people began to heal. Cities were rebuilt, and soldiers rested. Queen Elizabeth stood before her people once again. Her voice was strong and steady. "We fought hard and paid a heavy price," she said, "but we kept our home. This victory belongs to all of us." The Queen spoke of more than just war. She spoke of hope and strength found in unity. People from all over the world had come together to fight. Now they would work together to build a better future. Jack and Sarah returned to their families, tired but proud. They knew the fight was not over. War had taught them to be ready for anything. Elizabeth created new plans to train soldiers and improve Earth's defenses. She wanted to be sure that if danger came again, humanity would be ready. The humans remembered those they lost. They honored the brave men and women who fought and died to protect their world. Their courage became a story told to every child. It was a story of fighting back when the odds seemed impossible and never giving up. The Queen's leadership had changed everything. She showed that one person could inspire many. Elizabeth was not just a ruler, she was a symbol of hope and strength. Her people trusted her because she stood with them through every battle. The aliens learned a lesson they would never forget. Humans were fierce fighters with strong hearts. They fought not just for survival but for their home, their families, and their future. The war had taught the universe that Earth was not a place to conquer easily. As the stars shone bright above, the humans looked to the future. They knew peace might not last forever, but they were ready to face whatever came next. Together, they would protect their world and show the universe what it truly meant to be strong. The story of this war was only the beginning. The humans had changed the game. They had taught their enemies to fear what it meant to face a united, determined, and fearless people.